Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by a very, very special guest. She is a two-time from Bundesliga champion, multiple-time cup winner, Champions League finalist, a Euros runner-up with Germany, and current North Carolina Courage player. It is none other than Feli Rauch. Feli, how are you doing today?
Thank you for introducing me so well. I'm very good. We just spoke about the weather in Houston, which is very hot. But yeah, I'm excited and yeah, ready for some questions.
Houston is always very, very hot time of year, so now is just getting hotter and hotter. So you're definitely getting the
Um,
Texas experience.
I know everyone is like crazy about summer in Houston. So I'm kind of glad it's still like May. It's still like okay.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the most tolerable right now. Philly, I wanted to ask, we've heard so many different pronunciations in the NWSL commentary where every single time it's a different kind of spelling or pronunciation of your name. So can you finally solve the mystery and tell us how it's properly said?
You should ask my parents probably. They're gonna be like Felicitas. Well, I think everyone's doing very well, and I would say my name Felicitas Rauch. It's kind of like a soft, but yeah, like just Feli is fine.
Well, there you go. That's all. That's a great manual now for any commentary looking to pop your name, your second name. Philly, I wanted to start off with a bit of an icebreaker of since moving to the US, specifically now North Carolina, what's been the weirdest or the craziest thing that you've had to experience or see, or I guess the way of life people do it in North Carolina different to Germany and what you grew up with?
Honestly, it's the grocery shop. Like every time I'm going to the grocery store, it still takes me like an hour to get out there. Like I come there with my structure, with my list, what I need, like typical German would do it. And then I don't know, everything is just so overwhelming and everything is so big. Like even like I use almond milk a lot. So if I want to buy almond milk, I can't just get almond milk. Like there's unsweetened, there's vanilla, there's 2 liters, there's 400 liters. It's like, and all the packages are so big, which makes totally sense for like a family or something.
Yeah.
But for myself, like drinking that 2 liter almond milk will take a while. But yeah, so the grocery stores are still very overwhelming. But it's nice. You can like just get everything. So, but something I definitely have to get used to in the first days.
Have you found like a good brand, good enough size that suits you and how you want to drink your almond milk?
I started to look up actually some recipes so I can
Mm.
really. I don't like throwing away food or like having leftovers when I leave for like camp or games. So I try to like really use up all my fridge. So yeah, I'm into like some nice pancake recipes and
Hmm.
having a lot of overnight oats and also like some baking stuff. So um, you don't have to worry about me
Sometimes it's
smashing
best.
almond
Yeah,
milk.
sometimes it's best when you make it at home rather than buy it. What have you missed the most, would you say, from kind of this whole move in Germany? And is there like a restaurant? I feel like we've talked a lot about food, but other than food, what have you missed most?
Food, no. Probably I was on this point. I would have to say like my close friends and my family.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss them. But coming back to food, I miss like a very good sourdough bread. Like
Mhm.
we have some good bread, I would say. Um, Otherwise, I don't know. I don't really like German typical food like cabbage. I don't eat
Yeah.
meat, so I don't really miss that. I don't miss potatoes at all. So I miss some food stuff. Also like my mom's apple pie, it's so good. Um, what else do I miss? I think that's about it.
I feel
I'm
like
quite
you're
happy. I don't
feel
miss so
like
many things.
that's good. I feel like your dog has captured a lot of fans though. They're always like, "Where's Philly's dog?" They're keeping up on Instagram. Does the dog live with you, or do you kind of have to wait to travel and check on your dog?
Yeah, it's like I first wanted to get settled in, and then my plan was to bring her over after my first camp, which was in April.
Mm.
So on my way back from Germany, I brought her in the plane with me, and lucky, like she's quite light. She's like 5 kilos, which is like 10 lbs
Yeah,
units,
something
right?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I could take her upstairs in the cabin, and yeah, I don't know. I was feeling like home from the first moment I arrived in Raleigh, but
Hmm.
having my dog Cinnamon over, it just makes it even more like home, and it's also like very social. Like I feel like the Americans are very dog friendly, which I really appreciate. There's
Hmm.
like poo bags everywhere. There's like so much space because everything's big in America.
Yeah.
Um, my first question was actually to like one of my teammates, Danny. I was like, do you pay tax for the dog? Because we do in Germany. And she was like looking at me like, no, like, and you still don't pay tax, right? I hope I didn't get anything wrong though.
No, I mean, I live in Canada. We don't pay
Oh
taxes
yeah,
for dogs, but I don't, I've never heard of dog tax actually. So
yeah, we have
that's
that in Germany. I was like,
oh,
oh
interesting.
god.
Well, I'm glad you've ditched the dog taxes, but you've just said that your dog has kind of settled pretty nicely to the city. How have you settled into the city, and have there been, specific teammates that helped you with moving stuff, finding an apartment, and kind of settling in, close to training and just managing your day-to-day life in North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean everyone is like so nice and so like helpful and we're like open. It's just like I don't know, they make it so easy to me to like I don't know, adapt to the team and the culture kind of. And yeah, everyone is just like so supportive. So I need like some they gave me like a starter set of like toilet paper, some plates, and I don't know, they just like make me feel like home from the first moment. And
Mm.
I don't know, there was like one scene I have to think of now because it was like one of like literally like first night I arrived. I wanted to cut something, so I cut my finger very bad, and I was like, "Well, I don't have anything here. Like, I'm gonna die if I don't need anything." So I messaged like some like the group chat, and there was like six girls coming, just like with all with what do you call it, like
Yeah,
plaster,
band-aids.
like
Yeah.
band-aids, and there were like six people like coming. And I was like, "Oh mate, you are so cute." Like everyone's just like so caring, and so I settled in very well, I would say.
So you have a lot of extra band-aids now sitting around just in case
Yeah,
you do go
definitely, just in case. Yeah.
just in case. Well, that's awesome. I think it's always needed to have caring teammates and those who are available to come and help you, not only to moving clubs, but like continents, quite literally. And you
Mhm.
completed this move just earlier in January from Wolfsburg to the Courage. What was it that kind of drew you to the Courage when they were showing interest and you felt like this was a great club to move to and kind of explore that new challenge that you've been looking for?
Well, I had like in Wolfsburg in Germany, I had the feeling I just needed to go out of my comfort zone, getting out of the routine. Like I don't know, it's just like so much like always kind of the same. So I needed something else, and I was considering like maybe Spain, England, US was an option as well. But playing like Champions League in Europe was pretty much like something I was already like used to, and I feel like the US in general like was just like something completely different. And the soccer, the level, the competitiveness, the physical aspect, but also like the style of football is very high in the league, and I would say it's definitely the best league in the world right now, and it's still like growing. And especially like talking to the club and the plans of the club and talking to Sean, the coach, they just gave me a very good feeling from the first moment. And the style of football they want to play is something I can really identify myself to it. So,
Hmm.
and also like the history of the club. And yeah, just we dream big, and also like this season. So I really like, I'm very happy to be here.
And from what you've already experienced, have you had to adjust kind of things in your play of, style of play, certain ways of how you approach the ball and when you're playing in the game, or is it kind of met your expectations?
Well, in my old club or like semi national team, I'm like a typical fullback because I love to like overlap, cross, and assist my teammates, and
Hmm.
I don't know, just like being a natural fullback or outside back, you say, I think.
Yeah.
And also like here we changed the style of play a little bit and coming inside a lot, and something I really had to get used to kind of, because when you like a defender you have to feel in front of you, but now also like be aware of your surroundings and having to feel to your back and stuff.
Hmm.
But I like it because it's like I don't know, completing my game kind of, and it's challenging, and I'm 28, I still want to grow, I want to play on the highest level. And having a coach and a team that gets the best out of you and is challenging, so you're growing. I think it's just a perfect match, kind of. But yeah, so like football wise, I would say like it's very fun to just play.
And I mentioned things that you've adjusted, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that your teammates have also picked up from you. If I'm not wrong, you're also the first German international to sign with the club. You come in with a wealth of experience. What are things that you feel like your teammates are learning from you and picking up in their own game? Either, players in the back line, defenders, I mean, forwards maybe, that you feel like you have given some sort of advice or just impacted their game with the experience that you bring in.
Well, like in the first like couple of days and weeks, I was just like kind of paying so much attention or like understanding how everyone works, how the coach works, how the style of football works, kind of. So I
Hmm.
was like really soaking up things, and but of course, because of my experience, I also want to give things back to them because I think it's just how both sides maybe learn and grow and be successful. So I think especially in terms of like box defending or like defending crosses, maybe like staying organized inside the box is very important. And but also like things like next to the pitch, like certain routines, preparing, or I don't know, maybe like eating the right way, or
Mm.
just like be playing in front of like so many people, which came like I really appreciate it being like I'm so lucky to experience the last 2 or 3 years of my career. It was just like
Hmm.
playing with huge crowds was like kind of normal. This
Yeah.
still like shows how the game's changing, and giving these or give this experience back to my teammates is really something I can give as well, I think.
Yeah. What have you enjoyed most with the league? Yeah, I know you mentioned physicality and kind of, I feel like something that we always categorize the NWSL with is it's so kind of open. Every game is so open. It's so close between the teams. But what have you enjoyed most, in the past few months that you've already gotten to experience against majority of the teams really so far at this point?
Yeah, definitely the competitiveness. I like you always go like when you're a certain level, you always go in the game and you want to win, be the best version of yourself and stuff. But sometimes in the German league, it was like you had those top, I don't know, 5 teams, and the other teams, they're okay, they're decent, but
Hmm.
like 80% sometimes were enough too, even though you don't want to give 80% of course, because you want to give 100%, but
Hmm.
it's still enough. And here it's not enough. You have to give like 110% every game. I think this is also like the best way to improve, and I want to improve to be successful. So I thought this is the right move for me. And I think definitely the competitiveness, but also like how everything is just like a big party. Like you walk out on the pitch and there's like firework everywhere, and everyone's like so positive and supportive, and also like the fans and the stadium. It's just like so much fun to play, and because it's like everyone's just like celebrating a good evening, and I love that.
Yeah, the culture I think in the NWSL is always very special and how electric it is. But you
Hmm.
mentioned the German league, and funny enough, we've seen in the last kind of year a few Germans go into the NWSL. Obviously, Mueller now Portland, Raul now going to Chicago from Bayern. Why do you feel like it's kind of now that we're seeing more internationals be attracted to the NWSL specifically from Germany?
I think in the past the difference was because the German league was one of the best league, maybe like the best league, but now it's
Mhm.
kind of changing. Like you didn't need to really go overseas or to other countries to develop or improve because we had a
Yeah.
very good level in the German league
Mm.
already. So this was the place to grow kind of, but now every league is like competing and like growing. I also consider the English league, but
Yep.
from my experience playing the English teams, I think still like the US league is a little above the
Mm.
English league from my feeling, and it's still growing. And I think people now slowly start to recognize that and to see also like how much like energy and power everyone puts in like the growing side of the NWSL.
Hmm.
And it's just great to be a part of it, to raise the level and to give experience, but to also learn like I don't know, just like small things. And I think also like from a company side, like the German national team, I
Mm.
think it's like good when you have so many different players playing in different leagues, so
Hmm.
they bring different knowledge and experience in the German national team as well.
Hmm.
So also from that point of perspective, I think it's very helpful.
That's actually something that the Canadian head coach once mentioned that Canada is so strong because of the different players that play everywhere. Now, obviously, Canada doesn't have its own league, so they have to play elsewhere. But that's a point that you hear other people mention of like they bring different
Mm-hmm.
ideas, different philosophies, kind of. And I wanted to take it back to Wolfsburg a little bit. Was it difficult leaving kind of like mid-season after you did preseason? Obviously, there was the Champions League qualifiers. It was around December, January. Was that difficult to adjust, or you felt prepared in the time of taking this decision?
Honestly, I had this feeling a little inside for a little longer that I needed a change, but
Hmm.
like especially because I've been playing in the German league for like 10 years, and
Yeah.
then I don't know, so something was rising inside of me. So after the World Cup, I really needed a break because that was a tough one for Germany. And so yeah, we moved on, and I don't know, just like decided with the club that I really want to use this opportunity, and because of my loyalty the past years and like all the games that I played and all the energy I put in, the club was very also like open and
Hmm.
really was very nice that I wanted to like chase my dream playing in America one day. And I think this opportunity is just like something I had to use, and
Yeah.
yeah, luckily it worked out.
What would you say is your best moment in that green Wolfsburg shirt so far to date?
Um, Probably like all the good parties and celebrations we had after we won trophies. But also like the last Champions League final, I went to two, but the first one was during Corona or
Mhm.
COVID. There weren't any fans allowed. But second one, playing against Barcelona, especially like leading 2-0, but then like losing very close, was very painful. But the whole day and all the people that were there, my friends, my family, and I don't know, just was like a very good day at the end of the season after a long season. So this was very a moment I still enjoyed. Like,
Mhm.
of course, not in that moment because
Yeah.
losing hurts, especially in a moment like that. But after that, it was just like I don't know. The season was very successful.
I have heard that the Wolfsburg celebration parties go extra, extra hard, which is
Yeah,
always deserved after a trophy for sure.
yeah. It's
Um,
just yeah, it's very nice, and I don't know, just like the whole mood to just like sometimes let go, and after a
yeah.
long and hard season, because during the season you don't really have those moments, and yeah, it's just nice to enjoy those moments after a season like
You got
that.
to go all out for these post celebration parties. But you mentioned Champions League and in Barcelona, and I kind of want to take it back to that semifinal, the history breaking audience. I mean, it was just the day where a lot of women's football completely changed. You were in that starting 11, and you are part of history of playing in that sold out Camp Nou. What was that experience of like walking out to the pitch, seeing that sold out stadium, and getting to experience the whole 90 minutes in front of that crowd?
It was insane. It was like I feel like in this year, I don't know, it was like 221 or 22, I think.
Mm,
And felt like in this year everything was like changing a little bit already because we played Turin in Italy, like in
yeah.
the men's stadium as well, and everything was like changing and growing. So you like slowly notice the change, but then like walking out in the Camp Nou, which is like sold out, and it's like 92,000. I don't know how
Yeah.
many like
Just
it
under 92.
was yeah, it was so many people. I've never seen so many people just come into a football game from that perspective. And I don't know, it's just I had goosebumps and they started singing and I don't know, it's just like something you always dreamt of when you were a kid because I don't know, just like playing in the backyard with my older brother and we were like I was Roberto Carlos and he was like Buffon and just like picturing us in a big stadium and then actually playing in the Camp Nou is so much like history.
Mhm.
I don't know, it just like still gives me goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah, that year certainly was a big year, and a lot of the leagues kind of developing and growing and booming really in that Champions League was a quite a historic night. What have you noticed, I feel like in the past few years of playing in the Champions League and in the From Bundesliga of like post Euros? What are the certain things that you've noticed change and develop in the leagues and in the different competitions that you kind of again enjoy and be like, these are things that you jumped at when you were a kid?
I definitely think there's so many teams now that compete at a high
Mhm.
level, and when you think of like someone or a team that could win the Champions League, you now consider like I don't know 6 teams. Whether in the past you only considered maybe Olympic Lyon, Wolfsburg, or maybe like Barcelona,
Mhm.
but like 5, 6 years ago there weren't as many teams, and
Yeah.
now there's so many teams. You can they are so professional and putting in all the effort, so the league and the game is growing. But still, there's still so many more clubs to come. I hope because still like 6 or 7 clubs aren't enough, and but it's growing
Yeah, I think now when we go into every Champions League season, it's like who's going to win, and the conversation always flips flops from one team to another, which is like you mentioned is a huge thing for the competitiveness of the game. I think you've played against some of the top best players in the world in the Champions League, in the Bundesliga, and for Germany. Is there a player that was maybe the hardest to defend or go up against that pops up to your mind instantly?
I would name Caroline Hansen. She's from Norway. She's the right winger from Barcelona, and to get her off the ball, you gotta have a good day. Like, like I don't know, you just need two people to stop her. Kind of like, yeah, she's very good, I think.
Who's been again in kind of like a European sense, a player that you've really enjoyed playing along with in the past 10 years in Germany, and in those big moments of the Champions League.
Let me just think. I really like enjoy playing with Svenja Hood, which is
Mm,
also like a close friend of mine, but she's like, I don't know, I think 6 years older than me and still has like so much experience. She retired from national team now. But yeah, she's just like a smart player, always hardworking, and also like she plays with her heart. And also like I think that's one of the most important things to sometimes just don't overthink things, and don't forget why you play soccer and football. And it's just like she
mm,
reminds me of that. Um, who else? I had so many great players next
yeah,
to me. So I don't know, maybe like Simone Lauder as well.
mm,
When I had my first cap for Germany, we played England.
yeah.
I was a left back and she was a left wing, so she gave me a very good feeling as well. So I enjoyed that moment, for example.
For sure. Yeah. I think Huth is one of those players, like you mentioned, that plays the, her heart out on her sleeves, and it just makes it that much more fun to watch. You mentioned national team, and obviously your debut, you debuted in 2015 against England. You were only 19 at the time, so quite a youngster. What does it mean to get to represent Germany so often and have been doing so now for almost 10 years?
It's a big privilege, like representing your countries. Like I don't know, I don't have to say it because it's like it's what everyone thinks, I think,
Yeah.
of representing their country. It's just like a big honor, something you always dreamed of. My first jersey was like a Germany jersey from one of the male players.
Hmm.
Um, but it's I don't know, I can't like representing your country on a World Cup or European Champion or Olympics. It's
Mm.
even bigger. Like I don't know, competing against all those great nations, and I don't know, it's just something from another planet, I feel like.
Is there a game that you think is your favorite so far? I know there's many more to come probably, but is there one that when you put on that Germany shirt and you went out and played, you were like, yeah, this was quite a memorable game?
I think it's two times when we played England, my first cap, and the last time we played them in the European Championship, the final, even though
Mm.
it was a tough one. But yeah, also like so many people there. We had a great tournament, sold out Wembley as well, and I don't know, just so much history and so much, I don't know, like just yeah. I think those two games.
Big crowds, a lot of more moments of you being involved of history. You mentioned earlier the World Cup obviously was not exactly what you wanted, and it wasn't what I think some of the big nations wanted, like Brazil and Canada, Germany, all crushing out in the group stages. But are there certain things that you professionally and personally learn from a hard moment like that, especially at the World Cup?
Um, I don't know. Sometimes like expectations and reality can be like so far apart, kind of, because you always go in the game and you want to perform, and I don't know, have those like visualization how the game goes, and sometimes like just something completely different happens and you don't know why. Like I
Mhm.
don't know, just like not explainable sometimes. But then to still like focus on like what drove you there, and I don't know, just like the little things to really like play with your heart and stop
Mhm.
thinking in those moments, which is sometimes hard when those moments have such a high value, kind of like
Yeah.
it's depending like if you're gonna score, if you're gonna stay in the tournament or not.
Mm.
To then like really force things with your heart. I think in that tournament I really learned that. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to hear when big teams like this underperform and realize it's almost like you ride on a wave of winning that sometimes the loss takes you back to realize a lot of those things. But away from the soccer field, you just finished your master's in innovation science. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. It's
How is
perfect.
it
Yeah.
studying masters and having to be a professional soccer player and then like fitting international camp with it all.
um, I think it's something I would always recommend to anyone, and because I'm someone that actually like I love football, and sometimes I like in the past I caught myself also in my free time like thinking too much about soccer. So this
Mm,
really helped me to have something else besides football. I
mm,
have like 100 tons of hobbies and stuff, but like not defining or identifying you through only like through soccer is very important. I think also like because of the new generation now, all they are like professional soccer player. They maybe don't need to like have like a university next to it or work next to it
mhm.
because they earn enough money right now. But you never know what happens. You never know if an injury comes or if I don't know you don't want to retire at the age of I don't know 33 or something and then be like oh no, I'm not the football player anymore. Like, who am I? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's very important to have something next to soccer as well. And for this, it's just like perfect because I was like able to doing my uni next, like when I was traveling on the flight or on the bus, just like so easy kind of.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and I just, yeah, it was the perfect thing for me to do kind of next to football.
Is that like science innovation things that you want to go into in the future, or it was like an interest that you wanted to combine with soccer and football?
My bachelor was in psychology, and now the master was in exactly that one.
Hmm.
And my ideal is like to just, I don't know, I still would like to work in the sports industry because I'm very comfortable in that industry.
Mm,
But I would like to make brands, also like soccer brands, or like just how things work more sustainable to take
hmm.
care of the environment because I feel like there's so much potential to make the world kind of a better place.
For sure.
Also like I'm flying across the planet 100 times. I shouldn't be saying anything, but I
Well,
think there's still so much to do, and I want to help teams and brands to make that better.
I think innovation and soccer, putting them all together and sustainability are things that the sport will need. Feli, I've got one more question for you to wrap it up. What is your favorite slang that you have learned so far in the US?
There's a couple. There's two I would just now think our coach says, and the first one is like if someone is like stuck in between, like that person has to make like two decisions, kind of.
Mhm.
Like, that person is like dead in the water, kind of.
Yeah.
Or if you have someone that's like very fast and just have like a free way to go, you're gonna be like to that person, then she's off on her horses,
Yep.
off on the race, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I
those
love
are the
it.
two I just have to think.
I love how they're soccer related too. It's like you can use them during the game and maybe you can take
Yeah.
that to Germany camp, maybe
Oh yeah.
translated.
You're dead in the water.
Yeah. Does that have a direct German translation or would that be too difficult?
Yeah, I would have a direct translation, but I don't think they would
It wouldn't
understand.
make
I'll be like,
sense.
what are you talking? We only got rain. We don't have really water.
Just rain. Well, Philly, thank you so much for joining me today. Best of luck on this upcoming international window, and hopefully Houston cools off by the time that you have to play because playing in the heat is never too fun.
Thank you so much for taking your time, and yeah, I really appreciate it.